fuckface.
And remember, everybody, thick thighs save lives.
Damn straight they do.
This is Everyday Nerds, guys. I am your head weirdo, Global Outcast, and that is my co-head weirdo. What's your name again?
Weirdo. I'm the Anime Shogun, you freaking punk.
Yeah, we're co-head weirdos.
No, there's no co-head.
Yep.
You're a jackass.
And today's Everyday Nerds is movie review. Yay! Actually, something I've always wanted to do.
Ooh.
Something I've actually always wanted to do was a movie review. And so this is actually kind of fun for me. Today's movie review will be about Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. We saw it a couple weekends ago, and I, for one, thought it was pretty good. For starters. And I know you were pleasantly surprised by it, from what you told me.
I lied. It was straight trash. Hated it.
Uh-huh. We're not talking about the early 1990s one. We're talking about the newest one.
I've never watched that one.
From what I heard, the earliest one was bad.
Never watched it.
Marlon Wayans is in it.
Who?
Marlon Wayne.
Oh. Sounded like you said what was it? Like Mario Wayans. That's what I was like, what?
It's me, Mario Wayne.
Like, wait a minute. I have so many questions, but
No, but yeah, it was and I didn't know this before, but the Forgotten Realms started in 1969. And the guy who created it was a game designer, and he wanted to create a game about stuff he did in his childhood, and I thought that was pretty cool, for starters. But
enough. Give a shout out to all those people that hate D&D because it's Satanism.
Right? Oh my God! They made a movie.
It's work.
They made a movie about that called Maze and Monsters. Tom Hanks was in it.
Maze and Monsters. Why does that sound familiar? What? There's that one movie that's got the same Peter Dinklage, I think it is, the dwarf who plays in Game of Thrones.
Yep.
He also plays the giant, like a giant dwarf, but a giant in Thor.
Yep.
I want to say it was Ragnarok, maybe.
No, that one. It was the Avengers movie when he went to go with Rocket the Raccoon, his rabbit.
Yeah, Infinity War or Endgame, one of the two.
I think it was Endgame. That
sounds probably. No, I think it might have been Infinity War. Because at the end of Infinity War,
that's right. It was Infinity War.
Hammer.
That's right. It is Infinity War. Because that's right. Yep. It's been forever since I've seen the movies.
Dumbass.
Bite me, assholes. It's been forever since you've seen the movie too.
Fucking show up, fight me, fucker.
Fight me.
But anyway, back to what we were talking about.
Yeah, they actually made a movie back in the late '80s, back when D&D was on the rise for being Satanism and all that shit. And, yeah, I thought it was funny. It was one of Tom Hanks' earliest roles. And the movie premises is what it was about was a guy gets too engrossed into D&D and he thinks the shit's real.
That's weird.
Fucking right? And I just thought it was funny. But, yeah. What are some of your favorite parts of the movie? Spoilers ahead for anybody who's watching this and has not. Spoilers. I would have to say my favorite part is the dragon, the fat dragon.
I like how you asked me and then you already just fucking answered it.
Well, I figured you were thinking, so I'd go while you were thinking.
I was going to say the first part I liked was the very beginning when he was waiting for Jonathan.
Yep. Yeah. Jonathan, no! We were gonna pardon you!
Like, he just kept persisting on waiting for Jonathan.
Yeah.
Like, I really feel like we had to wait for Jonathan. Maybe we should hold this podcast off until Jonathan gets here.
Fucking right.
Because fucking hell, we need Jonathan. Jonathan has to be here. But no, just that was my favorite part. I don't know, like there were a lot of good parts that like in that movie that were my favorite. the whole thing of him looking at the guy and it's like, yeah, you don't want to mess with her while she's eating her potato.
That would have to be my favorite
Ball
part.
thing.
She sets it down gently and breaks his kneecaps.
But yeah, that cracked me up, and it was just, oh man. And then how like all of it was good. All of it. I don't think there wasn't anything that was like. I don't think I could sum it up to like the top 3 or top 5. They were all my favorite, especially like I could hear that, when they're talking shit about the guy, the paladin, and he's like, I can still hear you, and he's like, good.
Yeah. Someone else want to ride beside him? I love how serious he was the entire
my
time.
favorite. And then Bradley Cooper as the halfling.
I didn't recognize that at first. I didn't recognize that was Bradley Cooper at first.
Nobody did until that's where, like I said, it was funny to me because I even sat there and I said it and I was like, when I saw that I was like, that's Bradley Cooper as a fucking halfling.
And I liked how he had a type.
Well, so did Michelle Rodriguez. She had a type, and it was just like, oh wow.
Oh god, that is funnier than hell, especially at the ending when she sees that other halfling and she bites her lower lip.
Yeah, that's not fucking weird at all.
Oh fuck, that was just brilliant.
It was good. It was good. But then how he's like, yeah, I'm not a whatever he said. I plan things. I'm a master planner.
Yep. And everybody I've seen that actually also do play D&D, they everyone told me that you could feel when they were doing the roles and when they would fail and when they would succeed. In
Right.
the movie, and it was just really funny. Like one of my favorite moments would have to be when they're on their way back into town after they got everything, and trying to get in, trying not to break out, grab the ship, but trying to put something into the carriage, so it can go into the storage area for the rich people to hold there.
Yep.
And you see Michelle Rodriguez holding one of the guys' legs. She looks up, 2 guards are just staring at her. She just waves. She just
My
nods.
other favorite part is when they're about to be executed out in the fucking Stoneway or wherever they were, and she stops and talks about the axe of all things.
Yep. I like how she's beating his ass. She's beating their asses, and fucking Chris Pines is, we're gonna get you! He's just trying to...
Yeah.
One more thing before we do. Yes, we will get pine seed oil.
Yeah, that was pretty. I don't know. I think probably hands down my favorite to begin with was the whole we gotta wait for Jonathan. I feel like the story is very important with Jonathan here.
I'm gonna add that in the beginning of this fucking podcast. Going, warning, we have to wait for Jonathan. Oh yeah, that was brilliant. I loved how as they grab Jonathan and they're busting out of the window. Jonathan, no, we were gonna pardon you.
Yeah, that was pretty fucking good too. We were gonna pardon you.
Yep. Oh god, that was brilliant.
And you just see them flying away on Jonathan.
Yeah. Is he breathing? Yeah, he's still breathing.
Yeah, that fucking cracked me up.
And Simon the sorcerer.
Oh yeah, Simon was my favorite.
I loved how they added with the how you have to attune to the helmet, to those magical weapons, and I loved how they did that because in every like D&D setting or anything like that, yeah, it's usually just waiting, and I loved how that one you actually had to get used to it and figure it out and all that shit, and I loved how his ancestor kind of knocked him around, which was actually him. Which was
right?
funny. Oh, and I kind of hope they do more. If it's popular enough to go do a sequel, people D&D players, let's make this happen. Go see it so we can have a sequel. Because I would love to see them to go into Baldur's Gate or Waterdeep. Maybe meet some drow. I would love to them to put some drow in the next one.
Right?
Drows are so fucking chaotic. Oh my god! I heard a rumor. Keep it as you will. That they're going to add Drizzt Do'Urden, a really popular book for those who don't know. And he is a lawfully good ranger that kind of was exiled from his homeland. And yeah, really good series. There's like more than 20 books. I think there's like 32 books. It's been going on since the 80s. Really fucking good book.
Right.
But I heard a rumor that they're going to add him. But when there was like in the beginning process of making the movie, they were going to add him in. But in the beginning process, there was a little debacle with the books and Do'Urden. And I will literally walk over to the house right now, give you $20 if you can guess why what the debacle was about and why they had to separate and do some shit with it. You will never guess it.
Talking to me or the fans?
You!
Well, of course I'm not going to guess it. I'm not stupid. Or sorry, I'm not smart.
It's, out of all things, it was blackface.
Wait, what?
That's what I said. A buddy of mine who's more into the Do'Urden series than I am, he told me about that, and I thought he was fucking with me. But yeah, and so this is just a rumor. I don't know if it's true or not. I heard it. I read it on one article on comicbook.com, so take it with a grain of salt. And after that happened, they kind of said no. Let's push that aside, and that's how they came up with the Paladin. So take it with a grain of salt. But that Paladin,
This world needs to burn.
but that Paladin. Let's get back into the Paladin. He's just gonna
Do
go.
we have to?
My favorite part with the Paladin is when he's leaving the group, and he's going. Oh, Rock, look at that. Is he gonna go around it? Or he's gonna go left or right? No, he's just gonna go straight over it.
Yeah, he just walks right over it.
I fucking love that Paladin. He was so serious.
The one thing I think I'd probably have to say that I wish they would have done is I wish they would have added more magic.
Yeah.
Like my favorite one of my other favorite parts that I think I actually enjoyed too was when they were looking for the druid and they're like, "Oh, there she is." And they all thought she was the one tied to the tree. And all you see is a fucking horse start growing claws and they're like, "No, there."
Yep. She turns into the owl bear.
Yeah, and I was just kind of like, "You know what? I like it."
And I think this is going to be your favorite part too, because I know this is by far in my top 5, at least my number 1 and number 2.
Now that I know it's in your top 5, now I'm gonna sit here and say, "No, I don't like it at all."
No,
Just to spite you.
It's the moment where after they defeat the big baddie chick, and with the druid,
The red mage.
yeah, the red mage, and she as the owlbear, she takes her wham 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 wham. All right, I think she's good. Wham 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 wham. She does it like 2 or 3 more times.
Yeah, I want to sit there and say that's like a Hulk moment right there, like the Hulk Loki moment.
Yeah. Oh, that was just so fucking. Oh, I loved that moment. So, what are some moments that you didn't like in this movie?
I didn't like how they basically kind of did. I don't know. For me, the one thing I didn't like it's hard to say because for not being a D&D player, it was pretty good. Like I said, I was, but I don't know. I wish they could have shown more because I think they entered Neverwinter with the Sun Games or whatever they called it.
Yeah, I think so.
But I wish they would have shown at least a little bit more of like Baldur's Gate or they went through the Underdark.
Yeah. I wish they would have shown more
interested to see. Yeah, I would have been interested to see more Underdark. I would have been interested to see more of Water's Deep.
Yeah,
I would have been interested to see a little bit more areas.
Yeah.
Too, but I think the biggest thing I didn't like is how I don't know. To me, it felt like they were classifying Chris Pine's character to be a bard.
Yeah.
But after thinking about it and after talking with a few people that I know, he's more a rogue, in my opinion.
Yeah. And after you and I talked about that, that actually makes a lot more sense, especially in the beginning when you find out he joins the Harpers.
Right. Well, and he steals. He's a thief. He's a
Yeah.
master planner. He plays an instrument. I don't know. To me, it seems more like he's more of a thief or a rogue than a bard.
Yeah. And that makes a lot more sense. And made a lot more sense to me than him just being a bard, because I've always known the bards to have at least some sort of magics. That's only when they play their instruments, though. And he never really did that.
No, but some could argue that he could have because when he was playing, it almost seemed enticing.
Yeah.
So somebody could argue that, but I don't know. To me, after careful consideration, it feels more like he's a rogue than a bard. But I wish they would actually give us like more information on that.
Yeah, but then again, if they do a sequel, they could introduce more areas too, like Water's Deep, Baldur's Gate, which I hope they do. I hope they add more stuff. I hope this is a start of a new franchise, because that'd be awesome. Having
It would be.
Because this was an actually really good D&D movie that, from my understanding, a lot of D&D fans actually loved, and you could feel the heart and soul went into making this movie for the directors, because they were D&D fans themselves.
Yeah.
Also, fun fact, that fat dragon is also part of the Forgotten Realms series. So that fat dragon is canon. He is
now that I think about it, there are a few things I do have to sit here and say I did enjoy.
What's that?
The animals.
Yes.
I loved how they did the owl bear. I loved that. But the creature during the Sun Games.
Oh, the Displacer Beast.
Yes, thank you. The Displacer Beast.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably one of my favorite beasts.
Yeah. I want it as a pet.
I
never really got to face one in any of my D&D games that I've got to play, but from my understanding, they can be a pain in the ass.
I'm not surprised at all with that. I'm really not. But that being said, too, like how they did it, like I said, I haven't played D&D since I was probably a kid, and I was more of an onlurker and a watcher than a player. Yeah. But from what I've always seen and was told, that those beasts were not fun.
Yeah.
But that being said, too, like how they did it throughout the movie was pretty good. I have to say that I was impressed with it.
Yeah. And
I liked it. But I also liked the references to things.
Yeah.
There were a bunch of good funny moments. We can both agree to that. But yeah, I think, like I said, I don't know that there really was much that wasn't really my favorite.
Yeah.
A lot of it was good. A lot of it was my favorite. I've got a few moments that were my favorite, like Simon trying to court the druid.
That's still funny.
I'm courting you. Can I attempt to court you this time?
I did like the slime.
What? Oh.
Yeah, that giant slime. I also like that they added that little nod towards the because there was I also liked how they added like little nods to like both the game and the other franchises, like the 1980, I think it's either 1970s or 1980s animated TV show, Dungeons and Dragons TV show. In the games, you could, in the background or whatever, you could see a couple characters that resembled from the old TV show.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cool. Like, you could feel like I said before, you could feel the love that went into this. You could, they took extra really good care to make sure the they didn't put their little spin on the Displacer Beast. They didn't put their little spin on the Owl Bear, or the Druid or anything like that. And I loved how they made the Druid a tiefling.
Right?
Because I don't think I've ever, like, most tieflings I've ever seen were always like people playing the characters in, like, on the podcast that they do, like D&D D&D stuff, the tabletop stuff. I've never really seen tieflings being able to be played on, like, televisions or movies in D&D styles. And any tiefling or devil-like characters have always been evil.
You know what? Now I think I'm gonna play Baldur's Gate. I'm gonna make a tiefling character and make her nothing but a druid.
You right? But yeah.
Why? Because I can.
Right? Oh yeah, like you said, I've been trying to think of stuff I didn't like, and there's not really much stuff I didn't like about this movie. Like, to me,
yeah, the other thing you got to think of too is, Hollywood always has a reputation for messing up stuff like that, especially video games to movies. Look at, like, a lot of video games to movies. 90% of them are bad because Hollywood tries to spin it off as something else.
Resident Evil, cough, cough. Sorry, I had something in my... Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure. Shut the fuck up.
Sorry, I had something in my throat.
Well, okay, so we'll get into that argument on a different episode because that's something I'd like to actually get into a debate about. But that being said, yeah, a lot of people are probably going to argue that. But speaking on D&D, a lot of people try to hold it true from the tabletop games and some of the video games. Then watching the movie, they're like, hey, not that bad.
Yeah. Well, the great thing about D&D is there's so much to work with. Like, yes, for the movies, you could go off and do your own thing with the movies, but at the same time, you have stuff like the Forgotten Realms that Wizards of the West Coast have been cultivating since 1987.
So, speaking on that, then you should probably explain for the non-D&D players what the Forgotten Realm is or where it is, or go into a little more detail with the 8 minutes we've got left.
All right, so the Forgotten Realms started off in 1967 with a guy by the name of Ed Greenwood, and he created it on, like, the adventures he had as a kid. It started off, I couldn't do that much research into it, but he wanted to do a game with it, and he was doing a game with it until Wizards of the West Coast picked it up in 1987 when D&D started. And it's been part of that franchise ever since 1987. And I think it started either with Water's Deep or Baldur's Gate. One of those two was when those were the first things that, and then it just sort of bloomed with like the 1987 cartoon series where you'd see kids going into that realm on a fucking roller coaster. The poorly made 2 D&D movies in the, I think it was early 90s, which, from my understanding, are really fucking bad.
Okay.
But you have so much you can work with. You have gods, you have demigods, you have heroes, you have an entire fucking world that people live their own lives, have their own stuff going on, and everything like that. And you could create a character within a few weeks in a D&D setting with a guy who professionally does dungeon mastering, which is just the guy who tells the story and you and a bunch of people play the game. And he pretty much pushes you on that adventure type of thing.
Yeah.
And you could plop down in the middle of Water's Deep and be all like, "All right, I'm gonna play a thief." All right, and within a few games, you could be the master person in Waters Deep, where you're running the entire fucking thing, and depending on how you play it. It's been around since 1987. They have a bunch of stuff they can work with, and it's been around for that long and has so much stuff. It would probably take a while for someone like me, who doesn't have a lot of free time right now, to gather the timeline for it, because it has been around for that long.
Right.
And
so it's fair to say that that's a place then.
Yeah, yeah, it's an actual, yeah. The Forgotten Realms is the entire world. That's the name of the world, and they have, like I said, they have gods, demigods, heroes, villains, evil gods. For those who know it,
4 minutes.
For those who know it, Loth, the Spider Queen. They have demons, evil shit going on, and all sorts of nasty shit going on, and it's just so fucking cool, And eventually, I may do a separate video on some timelines for D&D for the channel.
Yeah.
But yeah, on heading out now, I'd love for them to make this into a franchise. Maybe TV shows on HBO Max or Amazon or something. Maybe make a few more movies with them. Because if Michelle Rodriguez doesn't want to be a barbarian anymore, all right, we'll write her out, bring in a new guy. It's as easy as that.
Well, so a friend of mine had pointed out, why don't they do something where, because one thing a buddy of mine was telling me that they missed out on was the whole somebody died and then basically came back as another character.
I saw so many memes of that when this movie was first announced. Oh my god. So many memes about that.
So yeah, a buddy of mine had told me about that, saying that was like a missed opportunity.
Oh, huge missed opportunity.
That's something that I think that they could do in the future.
Oh yeah, huge missed opportunity right there too, because they could poke all sorts of fun shit at that. The amount of memes they could put into the sequels and all that shit for D&D shit, inconsequential of how the amount. There's a lot of D&D memes. All right, on a closing note, I would love to see more of those brain eaters, brain devourers.
No.
I'd love to see more of those. That's my ending note. That was one of my favorite parts. Rude. They walk by. Didn't eat anyone. Well, I feel like that's kind of rude.
But no, I don't want to see those things.
I'd love to see an illithid or a fucking. I'd love to see an illithid.
I don't want to see the brain eaters. I don't, or the brain devourers. I don't want to see them. I've dealt with enough of them in Baldur's Gate. I don't want any more.
I'd love to see a mind flayer. I'd love for them to add.
Oh, no. Shut the fuck up. No.
Maybe add Mithril Hall. Oh, dude, I'd love to see Mithril Hall. But yeah,
get fucked right now.
I'd love for them to add Mithril Hall. Maybe do some more. Underdark shit. Maybe see on the outskirts. Oh yeah, that's Menzo Baranzan. Do not go there. That's where chaos lives. You know how many fans would just fucking nerdgasm at that if they mentioned something of the Underdark in Menzo Baranzan?
I can't say I would because I don't play much, so I'm not very familiar.
I know for a fact I'd nerdgasm, and I know for a fact if you and I were sitting there in the thing, I'd be smacking your arm and go, "Oh my god!" And you'd be sitting there going, "Hit me again, and I'm gonna fucking hit you."
That's where I'm already thinking right now, since you won't take us out already.
But yeah, that's the ending notes, guys. I hope you have a good one. Take care, and remember, like, share, subscribe on any of the shit, and follow us for more. Later, taters.
Don't forget to get fucked.